And welcome to Cushy TV, the straight talking YouTube channel. Yes, what I'm talking for the very first time today is the Essex boys and my time as an Essex boy. Hold on, I know what most of you are thinking already. You know me. Well, Joe, you're not an Essex boy, you're a West Londoner. I was born in Isleworth Hospital, West London. Some beg to differ that it's Middlesex, and arguably it is, and you know, I refer to it as West London. On my passport has got Joseph Smith, London. Yeah, so anyway, that's where I'm from. Am I an Essex boy? I'm not, but I have a connection to Essex, of course I do. My mum, a Romany gypsy, was born in a gypsy wagon in Romford, Essex, just east of London, and much settlement, a big part of my mother's family continued to stay settled, resided and laid to rest in Essex. So so I'm not an Essex boy, but my mum's an Essex girl and I have family there. So today I want to talk you through my connection with Essex, and I'm going to touch on my bit with the Essex boys, and I'm going to touch on another shooting that you weren't aware of, and I'm going to touch on who killed the Essex boys. So sit back, tune in, press the subscribe button. I could do with a few subscribers. Yeah, so if you think the 1995 Essex boys shooting was the only one, or Basil and Dorman, you would be wrong. In December 1988, some local doormen and villains had a row with travellers, my friends, the Romany travellers, just right in Basil and Crays Hill. December 1988, several carloads made their way to the gypsy settlement, and they was met with gunfire. And of course there was gunshots fired and connections. Some people were wounded, and my mates were arrested and laid on remand, and things were settled down, and that was smoothed over, finished. In fact, it was levelled up, it had become friends. The settlement was done, but it was done in the way of gunshot. Yeah, it's a serious wound, but thankfully it turned out that nobody went to prison for a lengthy time, bit on remand, and nobody was dead. But just bringing a bit of Essex info there for you. The Essex boys were not the only ones to be shot Dorman in Basildon. Yeah, so I spent some time living in Southend, between Basildon, where my family still reside to this day, from my mum's side, as explained, and Southend, where my trainer, Tommy Gray, the brilliant middleweight Scottish travelling fella, lived. And I resided in Southend, and I'd flit back between Basildon to see my family there, right? You know, Southend, for you who don't know, Basildon's it's about 12 miles. It's just up the road, 20 minutes or so, straight down the A127. And I come back, and I met a friend called Johnny Lee, fellow Romany fella, lovely man, Johnny. We were young boys, and you know, I was a young guy, and had a couple beers with Johnny. We were sober. And he said, here, look, you do know there's a nightclub around the corner, don't you? And I went, is there? No, I didn't know that. He said, I didn't know, it's in my infancy there, I didn't know the area at all well, you know, I was just introduced to it like. And he said, yeah, there's a nightclub around the corner. I said, well, what's it called? He said, it's called Raquel's. I said, oh really? So he said, let's go. I mean, I was, this was early 1990, I was 18 years of age, approaching my 19th birthday, you know, I was 18 and a half years of age. And yeah, so couple beers, stone cold sober. Raquel's nightclub it is. So I make my way into Raquel's nightclub. Of course, this is the Essex boys' own nightclub, as we know, yeah. And in those days, for you guys who wouldn't know, even a club like Raquel's, you needed a dress code. So you would need a collar on a shirt, like i.e. a shirt. You wouldn't have jeans. You couldn't have trainers. So we were dressed to the right attire, yeah, like we were matching to fit the bill, if you like. So we approached the door. And yeah, hi mate, how you going? As I remember, we're talking about now 30 odd years ago, yeah, we're talking about 1990, 33 years ago. As I remember, we went into Raquel's and up the stairs, right? And sort of doors, you could see through them, and we were met by 4 doormen, and said, no, sorry, you can't come in. So I said, why? What's the problem? And one of the guys, it was only one of the guys talking, and he went, no, sorry mate, you can't come in. I went, but I mean, my dress code's all right. He went, no, I wouldn't wear it, mate. You know, it might be your thing, but I wouldn't wear it. But you're not coming in. I said, what's the problem here, mate? you know, come on, just get it out. He said, mate, look at the scars on your face. So I just finished a bare knuckle fight about 6 or 8 weeks before, and all the scars on my face, I got 6 or 8 different cuts in the fight, and they were all brand new. You know, could really see them easily, like sticking out. So I said to the fella, mate, you have no idea where I got my scars, how I got them, why I got them. Yeah, and he replies, I don't care, mate. You're still not coming in. So at this stage, yeah, I was being as polite as I could, and I was meeting with sarcastic, rude answers for no reason. So my mate Johnny Lee stood beside me, right beside me, never said a word, Johnny. Johnny weren't a fighter, lovely man, he weren't a fighter, right? But he wouldn't leave you, you know what I'm saying? He'd swing his hands around and have a go, 100%. He wouldn't leave, he wasn't noted as a fighter, but he was staunch. He just stood there, never said a word. And I thought, I've had enough of it. And I went, mate, yeah. I said, I think you're some type of mug, yeah? I said, tell you what, mate, yeah? Why don't you leave the door, go outside, yeah? Right? And see how many more scars you can add to my face. Let's have a go. And as I said that, this big, the biggest Norman of the 4 of the Essex Boys nightclub, Brackhell's, he come right the way through, pushed the other 3 back, even the one I was talking to included, and I thought, right, the adrenaline's kicked in. Here we go. We got to go to work. It's too late. No turning back. 4 of them, 2 of us. And he went to the door like that, moved his guys out of the way, and he got this big iron bar and just slotted it, closed the door, bang. So locked us out with this iron bar, and that was my story with the Essex Boys. And for what reason he locked me out? Did he feel the other guy was being rude, and it probably wouldn't have worked when we got in? What he interfered just previously, sort of, you know, a year and a half or so ago before, just previously before, my mates had shot some of their, you know, fellow doormen, didn't they fancy the fight? 4 of them, I don't know. But I tell you something, we were pleased with the situation because we had our morals intact, and who knows what would have happened 4 against 2. That was my story right at the door. To this day, to that day, 4 white men, don't know who they were, which part of the Essex Boys there was. Maybe somebody out there can tell me who it was. Pat Tate, Craig Rolfe, Tony Tucker, Bernard O'Mahony. I wouldn't have a clue, mate. 33 years ago. Didn't know these guys. Don't know if it was neither of them, all of them, one of them. Maybe somebody was on the doors, just can remember the story. Tell me. It's a long time ago. So I'm still low key in Essex, minding my own business. I venture one day into, a bit after the nightclub incident, I venture into North London, and I met somebody I had some beef with, and a violent row ensued, and I sort of got the better of the row, and somebody from Essex had seen this. Untold, I hadn't a clue. There was a massive amount of people there when the fight happened. Yeah, this bloke in Essex, who was a name and a face, he told all the guys around Wickford and Basildon, yeah, I see this bloke fighting North London. Yeah, it's like, fuck me, solid bloke. And he's just telling the whole world. I didn't even know the bloke was there. And he's telling my cousins and my mates one day, yeah, they said, oh, he's coming up later. And as they're telling the story, I walk into the pub. And this bloke, you know, was sort of in fear of me. And he met the bloke, but he's telling everybody just that now. So he's actually building a reputation I haven't even gone out to get. Anyway, it sort of goes on a bit like this, and the local wild men from the town of Wickford, where I was staying when I weren't in Southend, which is right beside Basildon, were the Andersons, the Romany family. They lived very mainstream life, but good guys, tarmackers, straight goers, professional boxers and amateur boxers, hard men. And their brother-in-law, Mickey Aubrey, challenged for the Southern Area Cruiserweight Championship. Dorman, nice fella, and I got to know these boys, and they had some beef with a firm in Basildon, and they said, Joe, would you come and be part of our firm? Would you be with us? I said, yeah, sure, mate, because I like the fellas. And we turned up. I must have been about 50 of us turning up for this ruck with the firm in Basildon. And from this day to that day, because I didn't know the area that well, I don't know who that firm was. I don't know if they were part of the Essex Boys. Somebody else, I really don't know, but yeah, so I was building this reputation, and it all come to a bit of an end for me, my time in Essex, when about 20-year-old Bill pushed my brother to the floor, armed police, and thinking he was me, And on another occasion, I come back from a pub once and they pulled me over checking me for firearms. And I wasn't a firearms man, and I was a straightener man. But it was then I got caught for a couple of petty crimes, and it was time for me to leave Essex. That was my time in Essex. Yeah, so back to West London it was for me. Of course I still have many friends in Essex, and I've recently been back there at my Uncle John's funeral. He was a Basildon man, and actually knew Pat Tate. He said, and the Pat Tate he knew was a decent guy. Whatever happened to all this lunacy afterwards, I don't know. But that was my time in Essex. But what I did do, in fact, my uncle lays to rest in the same cemetery as Craig Rolfe and Pat Tate. And whilst I'm back there, I know a lot of the big players, like people that make a noise in that area. And still to this day, we work out, you ask the question, who killed the Range Rover 3? Obviously, Tucker, Rolfe, Tate, and you still get beg to differ answers. You get the old Bill, you get the bloke in Southend with a vendetta 2 years previously. He just let it lie. He had the patience. Still out there, still active. He done it. Then you still get, I think it was Jack Wones and Michael Still. But what they do know is it wasn't a lone gunman. The police say these are the words of the police. If you listen to this bit.
The Range Rover actually stopped just here, and it was facing this gate. There was absolutely no sign of a struggle whatsoever. Rolfe was sitting in the driver's seat, still with his foot on the brake. He was still holding the steering wheel as if he'd stopped at traffic lights. Tucker also was sitting in the front passenger seat in a casual manner, was holding a mobile phone in his hand. Tate was half leaning with his head into the broken window, but again he was holding a mobile phone, and there was no sign of him making any attempt to leave the vehicle because he thought that he was in danger.
The words of the police, they have a mobile phone in their hand, relax. None of them attempt to leave the car. So that tells me there's either three gunmen, because what would happen, let's be clear about this, if you get shot in the head, right, you wouldn't know much about it, but the bloke sitting next to you would. He'd dive for cover. The bloke in the front seat would dive to cover. There was either three gunmen that just all open fire instantly, or a couple of gunmen and some deceit, i.e. we'll take these two out but we'll leave you alone. It can't be any other way, can it? How can you be, this is a crime scene, these are the words of the policeman leading the case, right? How can you just sit there and be totally relaxed whilst your mate's been shot in the head? You're going to go for the door, mate. They're unarmed, we know that. You're going to go for cover. It's natural. You hear a firework go off. What do? We duck. It's natural. So that much we know, but actually who've done it? Lots and lots of people still do not know. And I mean, these guys are serious players, I get. It was a vendetta they had 2 years prior. It was bloke from Southend. Yes, no names mentioned, of course. The actual guys that got done for it, Wones and Steele, yeah. And, the police, the old bill, that comes up in theory all the time. So that's my bit with the Essex boys. Soon I've got a bit coming on Mark Ripley and Bartley Gorman, the two great warriors. So in the meantime, click and subscribe, and